What do you do when your idol suddenly chomps down on what looks like a rubber toy? Only to realize it's a real dead bat. Keep watching. Because the truth behind Ozzy Osbourne's most talked about night is even stranger than the myth. It's a freezing Wednesday in Des Moines. Inside Veterans Memorial Auditorium, the lights drop and Diary of a Madman thunders through the speakers. Fans are hurling rubber snakes, plastic skulls, anything gross and fun. Then a small dark shape lands near Ozzy's boots. He shrugs, grabs it by a wing, flashes his wicked grin, and bites off the head. Instead of foam, he tastes warm, metallic liquid. The crowd gasps, then erupts. Ozzy staggers back, spitting pieces and yelling for water. In his memoir, he later wrote, "My mouth filled with this warm, gloopy liquid with the worst aftertaste you could ever imagine." That 10-second mistake, triggered by a prank from a 17-year-old fan, spawned headlines, moral outrage, and the most durable legend in heavy metal history. Before the bat, there were the birds. On March 27, 1981, a very drunk Ozzy stormed a CBS record sales meeting, pulled 2 white doves from his coat, and, bored by a publicist's speech, bit their heads clean off, spitting one onto the conference table. He was tossed out on the spot, but the headlines branded him the new Prince of Darkness. That stunt supercharged his solo shows. When the Diary of a Madman tour kicked off later that year, Sharon Osbourne leaned into the shock factor. Contracts required each venue to supply buckets of calf's liver and pig intestines, a giant mechanical hand, or Ozzy's personal dwarf. Actor John Edward Allen would catapult the raw meat and plastic rats into the crowd. Fans loved the gore so much that they started adding their own surprises: rubber snakes, toy bats, even the occasional live critter. By January 1982, the audience came primed for chaos. Any small object sailing toward the stage might end up in Ozzy's mouth, real or fake, and everyone knew it. That growing game of one-upmanship set the perfect trap for the bat in Des Moines. Mark Neal wasn't a budding Satanist, just a bored high school junior looking for a bigger stunt than rubber snakes. 2 weeks before the show, his little brother found a dead bat outside an elementary school. Instead of tossing it, Neal slid the carcass into a sandwich bag and parked it in the family freezer. Friend Carmen Martin Kelly egged him on. "Hell or high water, we're bringing that bat to Ozzy." Concert night, Neal slipped the thawing creature inside his denim jacket and hustled to the front row of Veterans Memorial Auditorium. Bassist Rudy Sarzo noticed the odd lump on stage. Neal gave it an underhand toss, then waited as Sarzo motioned Ozzy over. Seconds later, the bite heard round the world. In the chaos that followed, Neal panicked about rabies, not for Ozzy but for himself, handling the bat barehanded. He confessed to the Des Moines Register the very next day, asking, "I won't get in any trouble for admitting this, will I?" The answer was no, yet his prank instantly became part of rock folklore. Ozzy belts the final line of Iron Man when something floppy smacks the stage. He assumes, like dozens of times before, it's a rubber prop. Leaning down, he grips a wing, raises the toy to the lights, and, playing to the crowd, sinks his teeth into its neck. A heartbeat later, everything feels wrong. My mouth was instantly full of warm, gloopy liquid with the worst aftertaste you could ever imagine. I could feel it staining my teeth and running down my chin. He recalled in his memoir, "I Am Ozzy." The head twitches. Ozzy's eyes widen. 5,000 fans freeze for half a second, then explode. Some cheer, some gag, everyone surges forward to see. Stage techs stare in horror as he spits membrane and blood onto the monitors and shouts for water. Bassist Rudy Sarzo keeps the riff rolling. Drummer Tommy Aldridge pounds on, buying their shocked frontman a moment to rinse his mouth with Jack Daniels. Ozzy wipes his chin on a towel, shrugs and growls. "Let's go." The band launches into Paranoid, adrenaline masking the taste of iron and fur. Behind the amps, tour manager Tony Dennis radios for medical help while security scans the crowd. Still unaware, a 17-year-old named Mark Neal has just made rock history with a frozen bat from his family freezer. Ozzy finishes Paranoid, bolts straight for the wings, and finds an ambulance already parked behind the arena. Bassist Rudy Sarzo later said Sharon Osbourne had radioed ahead. "He's just bitten a bat. Get a doctor here now." Paramedics rush him to Broadlawns Medical Center, where staff log the night's most surreal chart note: patient bit head off bat. The ER team gives him a tetanus booster, a rabies immunoglobulin shot, and the first of a 14-dose vaccine series. Ozzy hates needles, but the doctor warns, skip a dose and rabies can still kill you. Roadies load a cooler full of serum onto the tour bus so the injections can continue in every city. For 3 weeks, he lines up nightly, pants down, for jabs in both buttocks, thighs, and arms. "Everyone hurt like a bastard," he later joked. While newspapers blast out the headline, the band's crew scrambles to clean blood off gear and reassure promoters the tour isn't in jeopardy. Ozzy soldiers on, swagger intact, but each encore ends with the same grim routine: pull off the leather pants, grit his teeth, take the shots, and hope the story doesn't get any bigger. Within hours, the Associated Press wire lit up. Ozzy Osbourne bites head off bat on stage. Local radio stations looped the clip, and the Des Moines Register splashed the story across page 1 the next morning. National papers followed, framing it as proof that heavy metal shows were, in one columnist's words, a traveling freakout for kids. Church leaders and talk show hosts piled on. By 1985, the newly formed Parents Music Resource Center, PMRC, waived the bat bite and Ozzy's earlier Dove stunt as Exhibit A in Senate hearings on porn rock, arguing that artists who glorify violence and the occult deserved warning labels. Tipper Gore's infamous Filthy 15 list didn't name the bat incident directly, but Ozzy's suicide solution made the cut, cementing him as the PMRC's poster child for rock depravity. Ironically, the outrage turned into a cash machine. Bootleggers silk-screened "I Bit the Bat" tour tees overnight, and official merch soon followed, so popular that vintage 1982 Raglan shirts still fetch hundreds on resale sites today. When Ozzy released a plush toy bat with a detachable head in 2019, it sold out in hours, proving the legend still moves merchandise 4 decades later. Ozzy's story about the bat never stays still. In a 1982 TV interview, he shrugged, "You get these crazy people who throw junk on stage. I thought it was one of those rubber bats." Months later, he told Night Flight, "The bat started flapping in my mouth, hinting it was alive." By 2002, the Diary of a Madman reissue booklet doubled down, claiming the creature even bit him first. Jump to the 2010s, and the tale softens again. Asked by Billboard what question he hates most, Ozzy groaned, "The bloody bat," then insisted it had been dead all along. In festival Q&As, he laughs, "If I'd known it was real, I'd have worn gloves." A 2025 Sonic Temple Vox Pop found half the crowd swearing the bat flew, the other half sure it was frozen. Online memes splice every version together, proving that even if Ozzy can't remember the details, the myth refuses to die. 43 years later, he sums it up with a grin. "I'm still the bat-biting lunatic, and I never even got rabies." Eyewitness Mark Neal, the teen who tossed it, told reporters the animal was already dead when he found it outside a school, then kept it in a freezer for 2 weeks before the show. Later, oral history pieces in the Des Moines Register and Loudwire back him up. Ozzy's own book hints it twitched only because it was partly thawed, not breathing. In short, gross. Yes. Living, no. Ozzy never rehearsed biting real animals. He thought it was a rubber stage prop. That split-second mistake forced him into a long, painful vaccine series. Contemporary hospital records note an initial tetanus and immune globulin jab, followed by between 14 and 24 rabies injections over the next 3 weeks. Roadies carried the doses from city to city so the tour could continue. He kept every date, stopping each night for 2 shots in the backside and thighs, as he later joked. 40-plus years later, the one-chomp legend still sells. When Ozzy's web store dropped a plush bat with a Velcroed detachable head in 2019, the first batch, priced at $40, sold out in a day. Fans now trade them on eBay for almost double. The moment also keeps popping up in music culture. At the 25 Sonic Temple Festival, Loudwire asked concertgoers to retell the story. Half swore the bat was alive, half said frozen, proof the myth still mutates in real time. In 24, singer Taylor Momsen was actually nipped by a bat on stage in Spain and joked on Instagram, "Living my Ozzy moment, rabies shots and all." Memes circulate on TikTok every January 20th, the bite's birthday, while tattoo artists report a steady trickle of clients wanting cartoon bats with X-Eyes and Ozzy's logo. Even gaming nods exist. The online game Wizard 101 features a guitar-slinging moth called Ozzy, who cracks jokes about biting the wrong snack. In short, a 2-second mistake turned into a renewable pop culture brand, proof that shock value once captured never really dies. All these years, one frozen bat shaped everything from warning labels to merch. The lesson? In show business, accidents can become identity. In media, a split-second image outweighs facts. And in fandom, myths grow the more you try to untangle them. Ozzy never set out to start a rabies scare. He just thought he was playing along with a prop. Yet the drip of warm, gloopy liquid turned him from singer to supervillain overnight. And the label stuck even after the vaccine and the apologies. 4 decades later, we're still telling the story, proof that a single outrageous moment captured in front of thousands can echo longer than any platinum record. Bite once and the world never forgets. It reminds performers and fans alike that spectacle cuts both ways, boosting careers while handcuffing them to legends they can never outgrow. If you enjoyed this dive into rock and roll's strangest legend, hit like, smash that subscribe button, and share the video with a friend who still believes the bat was alive. Got another wild music myth you'd like busted? Drop it in the comments below.